Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is a conversation with Jon Barr. He's a New York City YouTuber, best known for his food and travel videos, and he's coming up on 600,000 subscribers. We chat about why he pivoted from a travel channel into focusing more on his personal brand, why his short-form sponsorships are outperforming his long-form sponsorships, and the systems behind his high-performing thumbnails and video ideas. I'm Dillan Taylor. I run Grindstone, which is accountability coaching for video creators. And so far, we've helped our clients generate over $750,000 in added income from their content businesses. And hopefully these conversations help you level up your own content so that maybe one day you can work with us one-on-one. But if you've ever thought about rebranding your channel, making more money from content, and doubling down on storytelling, you're going to get a ton out of this episode. Jon is an awesome guy. We had a great conversation. So without further ado, hope you enjoy my conversation with Jon Barr. Mr. Jon, your YouTube channel used to be called Here Be Barr, and now it is your name, Jon Barr. Why did you make the change?
It's a good question. When I started my channel, I think it was a little bit more focused towards travel and this whole Here Be Barr, like where am I on the map? And I think I'm moving more towards, I guess I want to say personal branding, but also I'm doing a lot more content just in New York. So I felt like the travel moniker didn't make sense, and it was more of a channel name from 6 or 7 years ago, which I just never got around to updating. So I thought now was a good time. I'm transitioning a bit. And, I always thought that having a channel name that was your name was just the best in a way. It's your brand. So I'm trying it out, and some of the viewers are noticing and they're wondering what happened. But yeah, no crazy reason. Just wanted to change.
Yeah, my buddy Marcus, who is a YouTube educator, his channel started and got to I think 200,000 subs. It was called Grow Your Gaming Channel. It was just like how to grow a YouTube gaming channel. He changed it to Marcus Jones, his name, because it's just like we came here. We don't care about growing our gaming channel. We came here for you, like to hear what Marcus has to say. And then I know Chris Williamson, he's a podcaster that I love. His channel used to be just called his show, which was Modern Wisdom. And then he pivoted. He changed it from the branding of the show. Everything's the same. Everything's the exact same, but it's now positioned as like, no, we subscribe to Chris Williamson's YouTube channel. And so, yeah, could you tell me a little bit more about personal branding? Like, could you define sort of what that means to you and why you changed it?
Yeah, I just, in a sense, I think I'm trying to switch things up with my channel where it's a little bit more entertainment, a little bit more personality, where you're coming from me, where you're not just coming to find out like the best things to do in New York. So I think that it was a good moment to change it up because I want viewers to come for whatever I'm doing, not just for specific types of content. So that's personal branding to me in a nutshell. I was like, okay, I'm looking for this guy. This is who I want to watch. It's not, he's doing this thing in this place, so I'm going to go look up Here Be Barr.
Yeah, cool. So feeling actually connected to the human being behind the content, not just I want information. It doesn't even matter who gives it to me, right? So long as
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
But now it's like, no. I want Jon made a video. Okay, yeah. I want to see what Jon has recently done.
That's exactly what I was thinking. You said it better than I did.
Well, you can feel free to steal that. And I want to actually look at your channel. Maybe we can give an actual visualization.
Sure.
It'll be harder for people listening to the audio podcast of this, but can you see this? Sometimes it lags because I have a horrible computer, but can you see this?
I see it. Yeah.
So these are your most popular YouTube videos. And if we notice, there are a few themes here. One, like a standard photo of you that has been successfully used here in several of these thumbnails. But the theme that I also notice is that it's a lot of just like regular still shots, like little, maybe editing some of the color grading or contrasts potentially, but like very simple photos of you that look like just screenshots of the mid shot. And if we compare that to your latest videos, we see that these are now looking like significantly more modern, obviously a much higher production value, a lot more effort, not effort, but like kind of what we see in like very big YouTube videos, almost like Mr. Beast esque. Yeah, like more touch ups to your face. Yeah, could
Oh
you just
yeah.
like take me through this design pivot in your thumbnails?
Certainly. I mean, we upgraded our thumbnail designer. Not that our old guy was bad, but the current guy that I'm working with really specializes in like big time creators. And I mean, you could see the difference. There's probably some little AI elements to it in the background. I'm not going to lie, but just the polish, um, the color is so much better too, because I think there's a lot of color theory behind it. You can see how much brighter it is. Like look at the red on the futuristic grocery store, the blue on the most hated one, the red on the rating every fast food. There's just so much psychology that goes into this stuff that I never knew about. It was always a weakness for me, thumbnails. I never really was great at designing my own. So we found someone the last probably 6 to 8 months. He just worked with a lot of high level creators, and that's his thing. You know, we give him concepts, and he comes up with these like beautiful thumbnails that are just very optimized. And then Mr. Beast, I suppose, would be the one who I don't know, pioneered this style, but you see it everywhere on YouTube. So my thumbnails were lagging behind much bigger channels, and I'd like to think we've closed the gap a little bit. But I pay a lot more money for them, so there's that. But it's been worth it for sure. Just trying to catch up.
Yeah, they look significantly more polished, and a big theme is your face is in all of them.
Yep,
Hence, this is Jon Barr. This isn't here be Barr. This isn't just some information about New York City. It's like, yeah, okay, what is John up to these
yep,
days?
that's exactly what we're doing.
And just to double click on that process a little bit, it sounds like you're working with this new guy. What is that back and forth like? Do you send him first? Here's the video idea, like from start to finish. How do you go from here's an idea that comes into John's head? How do you communicate with the thumbnail artist? And like, what's the step by step that eventually leads to this is the finished product that we're going to put or test as a thumbnail?
Sure. Well, currently I'm working with a consultant to help me out with a lot of my ideation and this sort of stuff. So we'll talk about a video and then we'll sort of sketch it out in our heads, or he'll even sketch it sometimes. And we'll say to our thumbnail guy, all right, here's the title. We want, let's say, 2 iterations of it. Sometimes we'll say, here's a video that was done, similar style thumbnail. You see this? We want it to look like that, but we'll just verbalize what we want. If we can't sketch it for him, we'll verbalize some ideas, and then he'll send back his sketch. And once we agree to his sketch, he'll say, take the photo like this. And, I'll give you an example of how things are different. I bought a light kit. I never had a big light before. This is completely foreign to me. And he told me, he's like, you got to shoot your photos in RAW. You got to have this light. These are all little tweaks that I didn't realize that huge YouTubers were doing. I used to do screenshots. Um, so that's the back and forth. He sends a sketch, we agree, and then I'll take like a ton of pictures and send them to him. And now he's approving them all. In the past, he wouldn't always approve it. He'd even look at my shirt and he'd be like, if your shirt isn't a solid color, I want you to retake the picture. It's just so many little things that go into these thumbnails now. But yeah, the back and forth is pretty easy. We have the idea, he sort of crafts it, and then we agree on it.
Cool. So this thumbnail designer, you also have a consultant specifically for coming up with YouTube ideas, or is this just like a general artistic director for the channel? What is that relationship?
Well, actually, he's just started with me. Not to get too much into the weeds, but I actually had a creative director for a long time, and it just didn't work out. Financially, it was just very expensive to have somebody full time. I thought that it was what the big channels do, and it is what a lot of them do, but they also have a lot more money than me. So ultimately, I realized that it just wasn't working out like financially to keep someone full time. So now I just have a freelance consultant, and a couple hours a week we work on some things. as far as like video ideas, I'll usually come up with the idea and he'll talk if we think it's a good idea or not. But then thumbnails and titles, and like what we're gonna do in the videos, if the gimmicks work. Again, this is more entertainment style, so like, am I going to rank the food? Am I going to try the craziest food? Does this restaurant make sense for this video? He just has his hand in a lot of different places ultimately. But thumbnails are a huge part. And that's something we're even trying to improve now. We're trying to make our thumbnails better than I've had in the last 6 months. There's just like levels to this.
Yeah. How do you come up with ideas?
Well, that's a great question. I look at other channels, and this is a blessing and a curse because you could look at a huge, I don't know, let's say like a huge food creator like a Josh Weissman. He could do things that I can't do and get millions of views, and I'll try to recreate it and I'll get 50,000 views. And what I'm starting to learn is that a lot of these huge creators can do almost anything, where it's the guys like me who are at even like my level, 600,000. I'm not guaranteed views. Even at my level, I'm not guaranteed 100,000 views a video. So I have to find things that maybe haven't been done before, or get inspiration from a bigger creator or even creators in other niches, and just do it my way. And again, I live in New York, so I have some huge advantages here where, if I lived in Nebraska, I couldn't go create a video about eating street food from around the world. Like, I can go to Queens and get this done in 3 neighborhoods. I could eat in probably 50 different countries. So huge advantages in New York. So I try to use what I can here. I am traveling a bit more. But without getting too long-winded, I like to see what's worked on other channels, but I also like to use my unique strengths here and sort of combine that and try to do something different, which I haven't done a great job of lately, and that's something we're working towards. So you're not going to see that much evidence of it now, but hopefully in the next like 3 to 6 months, we're going to see some things that haven't been done as much by other creators, and we're going to see if I can start to like carve my own little niche here.
Yeah, cool. I look forward to it. And any examples come to mind as far as gaining inspiration from a creator outside of your niche and how you turn that into an idea for your own video?
Sure. Let me think. Well, I could give you one. I just filmed a video a few weeks ago. It's coming out next week. It's titled more or less, I tried every buffet at Disney World. So it's taking the food stuff that I do and then seeing the popularity of the Disney niche. There's creators just do Disney stuff. So I figured we'll take something that's done well for me, these buffet videos, we'll combine it with another niche, Disney, and hopefully we'll create something that I've never seen done before. And we can get a new audience, or at least an audience that hasn't heard of me, to watch. So Disney's kind of in the travel sphere. I'm trying to think in recently, like not in my niche. Oof. Usually it's like pretty close to my niche. Usually there's some travel element to it. Like I haven't done anything wild lately. But coming up we might have some stuff. I'm still ideating.
Yeah, cool. And I'm curious, maybe I should have asked you this when we were on the topic in the beginning, but in general, around pivoting, broadening, basically making some intentional change, even if it's just slight, around your, whatever you want to call it, niche, brand, how you make content, how you package or display your content.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious what advice you have to someone who wants to do the same. Like, and the context there is, that's one of the most common things when people join Grindstone coaching. They're like, like I've been making, especially if it's like a gamer, right? Like I've been focused on this game for a very long time, but like the game is dying out or it's losing popularity. Like, I want to at least go to an adjacent game, or like I want to like move. I want to go from this specific direction I was headed, and maybe I don't want to go completely in the backwards direction, but like I want to make a shift in a way maybe that you did. So like, what would you tell that person who wants to do something similar?
I mean, one, I would check like what have been your most popular videos, and I don't know much about the gaming space, but for me it was food. Food was always doing well for me, and we've made the conscious pivot on this channel where I am, at least for now, just doing food content. Every video has to have some food element to it. I have left this like New York guide space behind. So I would say, what have you done best? Can you double down on it? And maybe for a gamer, it's like was like walkthroughs. Maybe like just do walkthroughs of different games. I don't know. And then it's like, what do you enjoy doing? I was honestly getting bored of doing a lot of this New York guide content. I could only do how to not get scammed in New York 5 different ways in 5 years. We don't have enough new scams. There are not enough new scams for me to keep up. Maybe there's 1 or 2, but it's
Challenge
the same.
accepted.
Yeah, but it felt like I was doing the same video over and over again just to get results. Where going to this like strictly food path and making it a little bit more entertainment based has really invigorated me. Where I don't look at it as, oh no, I'm just doing food. I look at it as I'm just doing food, but I'm finding new ways to make it fun. So I'm actually feeling more passion and excitement for the channel than I probably have in the last couple of years. So I'd say like, what excites you? What's worked for other channels as well. And when you really start to look at it, you'll see that the channels that tend to niche down ultimately do the best, especially in like 2025. It's very hard to be a generalist. And I saw travel content dropping. I saw my New York guide content was killing it like 2022, 2023. And then last year I started to see it stalling a little bit and I was getting bored of it. So it was the perfect time to pivot. But I obviously it's like, what's worked for you? What are you good at? What are other people doing? And if you see other people are just doing food and they're doing great, it's like, well, you know what? There's a lot of proof here. And I'm going to go for it. So that was sort of my headspace of those 3 things.
Yeah, I think that's ikigai, isn't it? The phrase ikigai, which is when you're trying to figure out what to pursue or what to work on. It's what are you really good at? What do you really enjoy? And then what does the market demand, more or less?
I wish I would have said it that way. That would have sounded so intelligent. Yeah, exactly.
I'm here to to
yeah,
upstage you.
Exactly. You're doing a great job.
This is. It must be said, I don't know if this will get picked up in post because I clean up the audio a little bit, but I love that I'm interviewing the New York City guy and we have like the New York City soundtrack of like cars honking. In the
I was about to close the window, but if you want me to keep it open for that ambient noise, I'll keep it open for you.
Yeah, it's like lo-fi. It's like focus. What is it?
It's the avenue. Like I live close to an avenue here in Brooklyn, so I'm so happy I don't live in that. If I lived in that street, oof. They're still honking. Yeah, I was wondering if you heard that. It was starting to bother me. Even
it's very on brand. It works.
Okay, let's leave it.
If people start screaming and cursing at each other,
all right, then we'll take care of it. Yeah.
I had a very unsuccessful run. I mean, this was years and years ago before I started coaching, before I was actually, doing anything within the creator space. I did a daily vlog because I wanted to be Casey Neistat, and I had none of the skills that he had and none of the interesting life that he had. But I remember this very particular feeling or difficulty. And again, like these are privated videos. They will never see the light of day. I will never show them to anybody, and they were not successful. But I would go around and having a camera with me, and I noticed that it would make me very not present because I wouldn't really be engulfed or thinking about the experience I was in. I was thinking like, oh, I got to get a good shot here. Oh, I got to get some really good content here. And I'm just curious, you've been doing this for years and years and years. You've built a career out of this, and I'm you've seen like mountains more success than my little 2-month stint of daily vlogging. But I'm just curious how or if that appears in your life, this sort of balance between getting the shot, getting the content, providing the service that you provide versus like being there and engaged in these actual experiences. Like, is there, I hope this question is making sense. Like, how difficult is it for you to be present in those experiences when you're filming?
Well, I'll say first off that I was also a Casey Neistat wannabe fanboy when I started back in 2016. He was the one that inspired me to do YouTube. And over the years, I meet many people who kind of came up in a similar time frame, and we all have these Casey Neistat stories. I mean, Casey had huge advantages that we all maybe realized later on, like with his filmmaking background, his life, he's hanging out with celebrities, and he lived in New York, which doesn't hurt anyone, including me. So one thing that really helps me a lot is having a camera guy. And it's funny because I see a lot of these bigger creators in my space that they shoot by themselves and they have phones and they do this raw style. Even like the Ryan Trahans, he does a lot of self-shooting. I actually am not a fan of self-shooting. And I think that I'm much more present when I have my camera person, because I'll tell him, like, I'm mic'd up. I'll say, film everything. And sometimes there are these little moments where I even like kind of forget that I'm being recorded, and I'll just like talk to someone in a food truck. Um, so I think not filming and not having to worry about everything being perfect with the shots helps me a lot to stay present. I think there is this fear of like trying to do everything just perfect for the camera. But one thing I'm working on and embracing is just my true self. So I'm actually a pretty messy eater, and a lot of these food creators, all the content's just perfect. And like nowadays, will make fun of me as part of the production. I'll eat and like a piece of food will fall, and the editor will like zoom in on it, or will like dropped food counter. So I think I'm just starting to embrace being myself, as like as cliche as that sounds, and I'm enjoying moments more. And I'm just so used to the camera after all these years. Like to me, it's just like an extension of being out. Like I don't know. I think when you first start, you're very self-conscious about the camera, but over time, you don't think about it anymore, and it's much easier to be present, focused, and just in the moment. I think it just takes time.
Yeah, it's pretty shocking how significantly better you get, any creator gets, by just doing 100 repetitions of a thing, right? Like I mean, we could do it now, but like if I'd be so curious to go and see your first few videos and compare them to your camera cadence now. I'm sure it's just a flow state now. And then like when you do hundreds, thousands of the same thing, it's just like, yeah, another day at the office. It's effortless.
Yeah, in the beginning, I was just like you and many other creators. I self-shot. I didn't hire a camera guy probably for the first 5 years. My wife would sometimes film. Oh, she got angry. I was so I was such a dictator, but she'll laugh about that if we tell her. But yeah, I self-shot. It was extremely strange in 2016 and 2017. Think about it, to walk in public with a camera back then versus 2025, where everybody is filming and creating content. Nobody cares anymore. But back then, you actually needed some courage to film in public, where, if I hated walking and vlogging. I used to like go into a little corner somewhere where I could see everybody, and then I would do my talking on camera. I was self-conscious. But yeah, the difference would be crazy. Even, I come from the sports broadcasting world, where I think I was trying too hard to put on this broadcastery voice and be this I don't know, like correspondent. And I think just it's funny because I had to learn to become more natural than learn how to be better on camera. I had to tone things down, where most people probably have to tone things up.
Today in Manhattan, hot dogs raised $1.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was just something like that. But yeah.
Um, this is great. This is great. So I'm just picturing dictator John screaming at his wife, like, trying to
Get that shot. Get that shot. I got to do it again. I got to do it again. Like, I was such a perfectionist. She joked that our old camera guy saved our marriage.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Good for him. Thank goodness. Okay, so having a camera person has made it significantly easier. Repetitions. Yeah, one of our creators, he's a musician, makes hip hop music. He's really, really good, and he's just been struggling recently, figuring out like he grew a ton. He like 10x'd his following, and then he just hit this plateau. And he's just like, all right, where do I go from here? And we came to this conclusion that what got him to this level, what often gets us to a level, will keep us from getting to whatever the next level is. And what got him to this level was building out a very systematized routine of filming, batching content, sort of low lift videos with his music in the background, and him sort of performing it. He plays drums as well. And then recently we were just like, okay, but there's no story here. Like, what's like, why? Okay, it's a 60-second short of you playing a song that you made. That's great. The song is great. He's a wonderful musician, but it's just like, so what? What are we really doing here? And so, um, we're having him double down on story. And similar to what you mentioned around your slight pivot of just like, let's make it about you, man. Like, why would we care about you? And he has now gone. He sent me this video this morning, and I absolutely loved it. It's not just 60 seconds of him playing a random song. You don't even know what his voice sounds like. It's like him working at a coffee shop on his lunch break, working his software engineering 9 to 5, and in between, like taking several shots of the coffee shop and then him talking into a mic, which he is very uncomfortable doing. Like he's just like, man, I don't think I ever want to talk to the microphone, but he's like, all right, I'll give it a shot. He's like, hey, uh, I work a 9 to 5. I've been pursuing this music thing for a few years now, and I've released a few albums. And all the while, his music is playing in the background. He's like, but uh, it's tough. I'm pretty tired during the in the evening after work, so I try to get in a few sessions here and there during the day, and then it just shows him working and sharing screen and making a song. He's like, and this song that you're listening to right now is what I was able to make after this 38-minute session. So just like a few things to parse out here. One, just the power of telling your own personal story so that we now care about you. It was like a 3.5-minute video. It went by like that because it was just this captivating story. And two, what I told him, aside from all the wonderful feedback that I shared, I was really excited. I was like, dude, because you could see how uncomfortable he was on camera because it was his first ever time talking to the camera in this way. And I was like, I can't wait to see 100 videos from now because they're
Yeah.
going to be so much better. So that's what came to me. This is
It's very relatable. People like that. He's grinding. He's working hard. He's the hero. He's the underdog.
exactly. So, um, no need to share specific numbers, but I am curious as to the breakdown of your content business. Like, where do the revenue streams come from? How diversified is it? And yeah, maybe without sharing specific numbers, maybe percentages as to the pie chart that is the Jon Barr content business.
Well, it's actually not. It's not as diversified as I would probably like, but I will try to break it down. Let me think. Oof. I mean, I probably have done better on ad revenue than the average creator, and part of this is because a lot of my content is evergreen. At least the older content, the New York stuff, I'd even put them into these compilations. So I don't know how things are going to change going forward, but probably say like 60% ad rev, 40% sponsorships. And I think we're going to see a shift in the other direction in the next year or two because I also do short form content in New York. I do a lot of food stuff in New York with the short form, and I'm starting to get more attention from brands because of that. Crazy thing is I make more money on a short form sponsorship than I do on a YouTube sponsorship, which sounded wild at first, but I met a lot of these creators in New York who just did Instagram and TikTok, and they were destroying me on the rates they were getting on their, integrated shorts. I was like, what? I didn't believe it, but it's true. There's just so much more money on the sponsorship front on shorts, especially because it's just easier to get views there. Um, so that has been a big shift for me where I'm making more money on short form sponsors than I am on long form sponsorships. And then we have the ad revenue, which still continues to be the top moneymaker for me. But I really feel like sponsorships are going to be the way forward for me and my brand.
And what do you think the difference is there between shorts and longs? Is it that brands are aware that they have a higher percentage chance of their ad or their mention seen in a short as opposed to a long form video?
I think the reason is because of organic usage and boosting. So if I do one short about, I don't know, let's say it's an app that you can open up and it tells you where to eat in New York. And I show an example of going to one of the spots and having a good meal and then saying this app got me here, take cash back. I'm actually legitimately doing something similar to this today. So that company could take that short and they could use it in infinity on their Instagram, on their TikTok. They could boost it. And then it goes to my audience on short form and it gets viewed a lot more. It's easier to build awareness. Where on YouTube, that same thing, I think a lot of people on YouTube see advertisements as interruptive and disruptive. And you can look at the analytics, the retention. Every time I put an ad, it's like, whoop, big dip and back to when the ad is gone. And I think for some reason with shorts, it's a little easier to integrate them or people might keep watching. And there's just more utility to short form advertisements like that. And like, I didn't get it because at first my mentality was people on YouTube know me more. They average 7 to 8 minutes with my content. They trust me more on YouTube. Where on shorts, I'm fighting with all these people. But the truth is the short form ads, they just have more value, I think, honestly. You just look at the numbers. On YouTube, most people fast forward ads. It sucks, but it is what it is. So that's why I think they're valued less.
I definitely do. Same with podcasts. I'm so glad that they have that like on a Spotify audio podcast. You can just go like, nope, forward 15 seconds, forward 15 seconds, forward 15 seconds. And so as I heard it, it's a lot more digestible and sort of transferable, a short, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can take a short and assuming you're not, verbally or putting images on it that make it like, yeah, this is for YouTube. Like you can put that on an Instagram reel, you can put that as a TikTok, and it's like it's much more transferable among different platforms, which would be much more enticing for, especially if a brand were to own that, they could do significantly more with it. Like you can't take a YouTube long. There's more friction, more work to maybe piece that up and turn that into a TikTok. Or
it's like in the middle of in the middle of a food video, I'm stopping and be like, guys, in order to afford this all-you-can-eat sushi meal, I gotta save money. And today's sponsor, Rocket Money, helped. It just doesn't make sense. Where are they gonna put that? Because it only makes sense for that video, but the shorts are just more organic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then also, I think just logistically, you can't fast forward a short. At least like even on YouTube, I think at the bottom they have that little bar that you can like kind of like get your finger on and push.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they swipe away, but the trick with the short form advertisements is you just make it organic to like whatever content you're doing. So for me, it's like, I'm going to go check out this food place and like, oh, and this beer happens to be, they're sponsored by this beer company, which is also something I'm doing this week. But I just find it so much easier to do some of these integrations with the short form stuff. Where on YouTube, it's like, I came for this title and this thumbnail, and now you're going to throw an ad at me. And I already have YouTube playing ads as is, where short form is just like, okay. All right. This guy's going somewhere. All right. He found it on this app. Oh, I could click this button and okay, maybe this will help me. Yeah. I don't know. It just feels more seamless to me. I was not like a big fan of it at first, but I understand now from their perspective why it works and honestly why it's worth more money.
Yeah, well, I mean, the results speak for themselves as you're sharing, and I didn't quite think about that until you just said that. But I'm in this space, and like we help creators get sponsors and do these things that we're talking about, and still. When I'm watching a YouTube video, and I have premium, so I don't see the mid-roll ads. When I'm watching a video and a creator goes, but first, I have to tell you about today's sponsor, blah blah blah. I love this game. I respect the game. I'm so glad that this creator has this sponsorship and that they're making more money. Like they have to pay their bills. Like, of course, I understand this game. Still, emotionally, I'm like, ugh.
Yep.
I'm just like,
exactly. I'm a consumer of YouTube as well, and I feel the same way. I'm like, nice, you got a sponsor, but I'm not gonna watch. Yeah.
Okay, so as of right now, you said 60% ad revenue and 40% sponsorships, and that's across all platforms. Like, is that relatively the same on each of this platforms?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say like. If we combine my entire business to be YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, even Facebook Reels, I'm blowing up there. That's been the easiest to get followers. Yeah, probably, but I that's just my prediction. I could totally be wrong this year. This has been a crazy year. My sponsorships have been going up, where if you ask me the same question in December, I might say it's more sponsorships.
Mm. Mhm. I think people sleep on Facebook. We have a creator, again, one of our gaming creators. He makes Marvel Rivals content, and all that he's been doing is just reposting the exact same videos on Facebook. He doesn't do anything different. He's literally just like copy paste and just uploads. And he's gotten up to, not that this is, anything to go full time off of, but he's up to like $150 a month on Facebook, just literally reposting the same exact videos that he's putting up on YouTube, TikTok, etc. And we were just like, whoa, he posted the graph, and we're like, not bad for doing literally no extra work. Like,
It's the same thing that happened to me. So Instagram makes it even easier because it's the same company. There's just a button. Do you want to share this automatically to Facebook? And I was doing it. And then one day I checked Facebook and I'm like, I have like 40,000 followers. How did this happen? And there's people commenting nonstop. I'm like, you're my follower. I don't even pay attention to this. And it's literally the same thing I post on Instagram, the same thing I post on TikTok. And then you talk about money. About 2 months ago, I got a notification. You've been invited to the creator monetization program. And I'm like, I didn't know this was a thing. So on TikTok, they have the creativity fund if you live in the US, but there's a caveat. The videos have to be at least 60 seconds. And my best shorts are 30 seconds. That's my sweet spot, 25 or 30-second food things, what's going on in New York. So Facebook was giving me, I believe, about the same RPM as the TikTok creativity fund, which I was almost never utilizing because my reels were too short. So all of a sudden I have this new revenue stream to, like, last month I made over $1,000 on Facebook. And I'm like, I did nothing. And this money's coming in. Now, knock on wood, I know things change and I'm not trying to like humble brag, but that's extra income. So, and I'm telling you, it has been so much harder for all the creators I know to grow on TikTok and Instagram, but you are crazy if you're not trying to grow on Facebook when it takes no extra effort. And that is the one spot right now where I am growing the fastest. And who knows how things are going to change in the next 5 years. Maybe Facebook Reels will be the TikTok for your parents and grandparents. I don't know. The audience is a little older, I admit. It's definitely older. But, if your, average viewers like 30, 40, it's perfect.
yep. Yeah, that's so good. I think it already is the TikTok of that jitter. Like,
Yeah.
whenever I get a message on Facebook, I'm like, I know it's my dad and I know it's some political meme.
Of course.
Yeah. This is great. And we are here for an hour. I don't want to keep you any longer than promised. And there's a million different things I would love to talk about, but I'd love to maybe take us home here in this tail end with some rapid fire questions for you, Jon.
All right, go for it.
All right. You've been doing this for coming up on a decade.
Yeah, next May would be a decade. Yeah.
Yeah. What is getting easier the more you do this, and what is getting harder?
It's getting easier to create because there's just so many more tools out there. I use ChatGPT all the time just for research. Just all the time. Like, give me 10 countries in around the world that I could eat in New York and Queens, and I'll get like 50 restaurants. Even Google wouldn't have done that for me in the past. I would have maybe gotten some articles, but even just for scripts, I'm looking at certain things, I'm tweaking things with ChatGPT and AI, and like finding editors. There's websites now. It's so easy. Like my twin brother, he I guess just started. It's been almost a year. He's been doing YouTube and content. I told him it has never been easier to start, and it's never been harder to get views because there's so much competition and everybody's doing it. So yes, never been easier to start, never been harder to get views because I started YouTube 2016. How many channels were there back then? I was getting away with content probably 2018, 2019 when there was no competition. That back then was getting 30 to 50,000 views, maybe 100,000 views. That today probably wouldn't even break 5,000.
Okay. It's never been easier to start. It's never been harder to get views, to get traction, to
Yeah.
get success
Yep.
here.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a good quote. What is the number one lesson that you have had to learn the hard way when it comes to content creation?
If your idea sucks, it doesn't matter how you package it. It doesn't matter how good the video is. It doesn't matter how good the thumbnail is, how good the title is. You're not going to get views if the idea is not strong. And I still get hit by that all the time. All the time. It's like, you know what? That idea wasn't broad enough. Or maybe that idea was good 2 years ago. Now other people have done it. Yeah, just if the idea is not strong, it doesn't matter what you do. You will not get the views you want.
Mm-hmm. What is something like a principle, philosophy, belief that you have about content creation that most other creators would disagree with?
Let me. This is a new one for me, and we'll see if I walk the walk with it. But I think quality over quantity on YouTube. I am going to shift to making content once every other week. I was weekly for years and years, and I have friends in the game who sometimes do even more than one video a week. And they'll think I'm crazy for trying to do this, but I'm trying to optimize each video to do the best. So I think that a lot of creators would be scared to do that, but I see so many huge creators doing it. So maybe this is like my peers will disagree with me and some of the high level people will agree. But for my peers, like doing a video every other week and trying to make it the best thing possible and really optimizing every little detail that I can, that would be it right now.
Sure. I mean, Mr. Beast, the king of YouTube, right? He does what on his main channel, one video a month?
He probably spends like $100 million on it, but yes, exactly.
Cool. Okay. Quality over quantity. Who is your favorite creator outside of your niche?
My favorite creator outside of my niche? Oof, that's a good question. I'm trying to think who I watch because I don't watch it. You know, there's this guy right now. He's always on my homepage. I think his channel is called like the Civil Rights Lawyer. And I know that like these police arrest videos have been very popular the last couple of years. I love him too, but he breaks them down from the perspective of like, was the officer correct in arresting this person? And this is very thought-provoking stuff. So I would say right now, if I see one of his videos pop up and he gets like 1 million or 2 million views every video, I click because I want to know what he's going to say, because you get like the police part and then we have the lawyer breaking it down. So I think it's called the civil. I forgot it. Isn't that crazy? I forgot his name. And this just shows like as a creator who wants people to know his name, I see his face and I click. So maybe Jon Barr is an easy name to remember. Hopefully they won't say, I forgot his name, but he does these New York food videos. Yeah, I know his face. Yeah.
Your name is pretty easy to remember.
Yeah, exactly.
But dude, yeah, I'm a sucker for those videos.
Everyone is, yeah.
And for that very reason, because I would say over these last same thing, 2 years, I've been really into them. Sometimes it's just like, I think, what is it? Blue cop cam or blue dash cam.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
Which is just the footage, right? It's just the raw footage. There's no breakdown or commentary, but then they have these other channels. Audit the Audit is one, I think. Lackluster.
Audit the Audit's good, yeah.
Yeah, that was my intro to all of this. And you have these people breaking down civil rights lawyer. And anyway, my main takeaway was I've actually learned about my rights as a U.S. citizen.
The Civil Rights Lawyer. I just pulled it up. I want to give the guy proper credit. The Civil Rights Lawyer is the channel.
The Civil Rights Lawyer. Yeah. They do a great job breaking down and like teaching you, the viewer, like, hey, if you have a police encounter, here are your rights. Here's what you should not say. Here's what you can say. Here's what you're entitled to. And I was like, I didn't know any of this. And I talked to my friends and like, they don't know. Like, people don't know this. We should all know this.
Yeah. It's really like, now I feel like if a cop ever pulls me over, I'm going to have my phone ready. Like, I'm going to be ready.
Yeah. What have you sacrificed to get to where you are today? And what have you been unwilling to sacrifice?
And I was just thinking about this the other day. When I used to edit my own content, especially, that was so time consuming that like I definitely sacrificed a lot of my free time in my especially in my like early 30s when I was just getting started. I sacrificed so much time that I could have spent going out, leisure time. Um, so that was I definitely sacrificed a lot editing. I would say just free time, time with friends, family. And now I'm shifting that focus where I have a wife and a son, where like I'm really not willing to sacrifice my weekends right now. I'm intentionally not working weekends or barely, spend more time with family. I'm trying to like I don't want to say work a 9 to 5, but my son gets home from school. I'm trying to spend more time with him in the evening where it's like I focus hard during the day because I know after like 5 o'clock, I want to be present with the family. So I'm trying not to sacrifice family time and being very intentional with my planning and my days.
Totally. Dude, that's cool that you said that. I was just thinking about this yesterday. I think, we say the 9 to 5 and yeah, like the stereotypical, especially in the entrepreneur or creator space, we poo poo on the 9 to 5. And the corporate world, whatever, like there are a lot of reasons to dislike or not be satisfied by it. But I think the schedule is great. Like when else am I gonna if I wait too long in the day to start work, like I'm not as motivated. It's like I usually want to get started around like 8 or 9 in the morning, and then I have a bunch like when are people finishing their days? It's like yeah, it's around like 3, 4, 5
Yeah.
p.m. I like the 9 to 5 schedule, but I am an entrepreneur. No
But if
one's
it's
making.
on, it's on your terms, like you can take the morning off. You don't have to ask a boss. It's, I agree with you. It's nice to have that structure, but it's your structure. You can change it if you need to.
Yep, 100%. Last question for you, Mr. John. If a creator today wanted to build a travel or food lifestyle channel, um, what would you tell them to avoid doing? And what would you tell them to really lean into, double down on to achieve success?
I would try to avoid copying too much of what's worked for the really big channels. I know it's easy to try to model success. I would rather you try different things and see what excites you the most. And I'll give you a great example. My twin brother, no shock, he's doing different travel content right now, traveling the world with his wife. And he was trying to do these, I don't know, weird destinations and some other stuff. And he determined that he loved doing food content the most. Again, we're twins. So I would say like experiment, but really see what like motivates you the most, what inspires you the most, what type of content. It could take you 6 months to a year to figure it out. And like once you figure that out, like really go hard on it, especially if it's getting results. And hopefully what you like and what's getting results are the same. It's a little tougher when you do something that you don't like and people are watching. But I would like first see what satisfies you and then see what satisfies the audiences, I would say.
Jon Barr, you're the man.
Thank
This
you,
was great.
Dylan.
Yeah, man. Last interview, first time we met was I think 3 years ago.
Almost 3 years, yeah.
You've come a very long way. And yeah, I continue to be a fan of your channel and everything that you got going on. So I will stay tuned, and I appreciate your
Sure.
time today.
Yeah, Dylan, no problem. Hope some of your viewers learned a few tips and tricks from my story.